Some people leave quietly, some leave with a storm, but no one ever tells you that every goodbye leaves something behind. There was a chair that never moved again, a voice that disappeared into the wind. The house stayed standing, nothing looked the same. Silence slowly learned my name. I watched the seasons change the streets, while memories refused to leave. The calendar forgot the day you went, my heart never did. I searched for pieces of us in crowded places, in passing cars and unfamiliar faces. Every stranger looked a little like hope, until reality tightened the rope. The hardest truth I ever learned: some doors close without a return. You don't always cry when someone leaves. Sometimes you simply become a quieter version of yourself. Every goodbye left a scar, a map of everyone I've lost. Some faded into distant light, others still keep me awake at night. I carry names I'll never speak, dreams that slowly grew too weak. The man I am wears every mark, because every goodbye left a scar. I stopped asking heaven for another chance, stopped believing in lucky circumstance. If people wanted to stay, they would. If love was enough, it would've stood. Those words became my daily prayer, long before I learned not to care. The rain became familiar company, the night understood what daylight couldn't see. I found peace inside empty roads, when no one asked about the weight I hold. Sometimes the strongest men you know are simply the ones with nowhere left to go. Every farewell stole a little warmth, every sunrise gave a little back. Every goodbye left a scar, hidden beneath this tailored suit. You see composure, I remember the roots. You see confidence, I remember the fear. The strongest part of me was built right here. There are letters I'll never send, conversations that never found an end. I still hear laughter in empty halls, echoes dancing across forgotten walls. Some nights I wonder who I'd be if fate had chosen differently. Would I still wear this quiet face? Would kindness still have found a place? Or was this always who I become? A man who speaks more through silence than tongue. I've learned that grief never truly leaves, it simply changes the way it breathes. One day it's thunder, loud and wild, the next is the memory of a smile. People think healing means forgetting, they couldn't be more wrong. Healing is learning to smile without asking the past for permission. Healing is carrying yesterday without letting it steal tomorrow. Healing is understanding that love can end without becoming meaningless. Every goodbye left a scar, but none of them destroyed my heart. They carved out room for someone new, a man who finally knew the truth. The ones who left still shape my road, even if they never shared the load. I don't curse the names I've lost, they made me who I am. Every goodbye took something from me, but every goodbye also gave me strength. The world remembers victories, a gentleman remembers lessons, and sometimes the deepest scars become the quietest source of strength. I see the suit, I see the cigarette, I see the calm expression that never breaks. What they don't see is everything it took to become this man. I learned to hide my stones behind a steady gaze, to wear confidence through my darkest days. The city only respects a man who never bends, so I bury my heart beneath loose ends. Every street remembers the footsteps I made, every victory carried a price I paid. The smoke climbs higher than the words I keep, guarding secrets too heavy to speak. They say I've changed and they're right. The boy they knew never survived the night. He disappeared between broken vows, leaving only this version standing out. A gentleman with quiet hands, trying to understand what no one understands. Silence became my sharpest weapon, not because I had nothing to say, but because some truths are too expensive to speak. I'm the man behind the smoke, hidden where the memories choke. Every breath carries yesterday, every flame keeps the ghosts away. You see composure in my eyes, I see every buried goodbye. The smoke may disappear with time, but the man behind it never does. There are nights when the city falls asleep, and even kings have promises to keep. The moon still shines on empty roads, where I learned to carry impossible loads. Power filled my hands, not my soul. Success never made a broken man whole. I built walls that no one could climb, brick by brick, one scar at a time. People admire what they cannot feel, mistaken survival for nerves of steel. If only they knew the cost to control the quiet wars inside my soul. The strongest men don't fear the dark, they simply know it by name. I'm the man behind the smoke, 1,000 words forever unspoken. Every scar became my guide, every tear learned where to hide. You may never know my past, only the shadow that it casts. The smoke hides my face from sight, but never my fight. Sometimes I drive through streets we knew, wondering if they still remember you. The rain paints silver on the glass, like every year that slowly passed. I don't chase the life we lost, I've already counted every cost. There's a photograph inside my coat, it said just worn by silent hope. I never throw it all away, some memories deserve to stay. Not because I'm trapped in time, but because love once made me kind. The world believes I've grown too cold, that ambition turned my heart to stone. But beneath every careful breath lives a man who still feels every step. Not weak, not broken, just wiser than before. A gentleman isn't measured by the battles that he wins, he's measured by the pain he carries without letting it become hatred. He's measured by the people he protects, even when no one protects him. He's measured by the promises he keeps, even after everyone else forgets theirs. I'm the man behind the smoke, still standing where the past was broken. Every flame that lights the night reminds me I survived the fight. The world may only see my pride, never the tears I've learned to hide. The suit was never stitched from gold, with stories untold. The smoke will fade, the rain will stop, the city will forget my name, but the man behind the smoke will always remember the boy who believed the world was kind. Power couldn't heal me. I built these walls with hands that never rested, brick after brick from promises I buried. Every sleepless night became another floor, every sacrifice another locked door. The city watched me rise through smoke and rain, calling my name like I had conquered pain. They only saw the suit, the gold, the throne. They never saw how empty I'd become. I chased the skyline every single night, thinking higher places carry better light. I fill my pockets till they weigh like stone, yet every victory echoed all alone. The higher I climbed, the less I could breathe. Success became another thing to grieve. I reached the top that everyone admired, only to discover I was tired. What good is an empire when there's no one left to call it home? What good is being remembered if you spend your life feeling alone? Power couldn't heal me, it only made the silence louder. Money couldn't save me, it only built the walls much higher. Every dream I chased lost a little of its flame, because the heart doesn't speak the language of fame. Power couldn't heal me, it couldn't quiet restless nights, it couldn't turn regret into something that felt right. The crown upon my head never eased the weight I bore. Sometimes the richest man alive is still emotionally poor. I bought expensive watches trying to outrun time, but every ticking second replayed your goodbye. I drove through midnight in machines built for kings, still hearing the silence your memory brings. Your champagne tasted colder than ordinary rain, because luxury has never comforted pain. Every room was filled with beautiful things, yet none of them could make my spirit sing. They celebrated every deal I made, raised their glasses to the life I played, but behind every smile was another disguise, another truth hidden behind my eyes. I mastered every lesson money could teach, except the ones no fortune could ever reach. The world told me to become powerful, nobody warned me that power and peace are rarely the same thing. Power couldn't heal me, couldn't rewrite yesterday, couldn't bring back voices that slowly faded away, couldn't fill the chair that still sits across from mine. Some losses don't disappear, they simply learn to hide. Power couldn't heal me, it couldn't silence every ghost. The people I love the most were never impressed by what I own. They only wanted the man before ambition took control, before I traded pieces of my heart for another impossible goal. One evening I stood above the sleeping city, watching thousands of lights below. Every window held another family, another story I'd never know. Some were laughing over simple meals, some were dancing through ordinary dreams, and I envied every stranger who still had someone waiting. That's when I understood the wealthiest man isn't measured by numbers inside a bank. He's measured by the names who answer when he calls, by the people who stay after the applause ends, by the hands that never let go. I had everything people spend their lives chasing, yet I would've traded all of it for one more evening with the people I couldn't save. If success could heal broken hearts, mine would've healed years ago. If money could buy peace, I'd own every quiet sunrise. If power could erase regret, I never remember your name, but healing find you. Power couldn't heal me, but pain slowly taught me how. It taught me the strength isn't found in control, it's found in surrender. In admitting you still miss them, in carrying love without expecting it to return. Power built the empire, pain built the gentleman. And if I had to lose everything again to become the man I am today, I'd still choose the heart over the throne. The city will remember my name, the papers may remember my victories, but when the lights finally fade, I hope I'm remembered not as the man who gained the world, but as the man who never let heartbreak take away his humanity. I thought mercy made a man stronger. You thought it made me easier to break. That's the difference between who I was and who they forced me to become. I opened doors that no one thanked me for, stayed behind when everyone walked out the door. I carried burdens that were never mine, believing sacrifice would buy me time. I give my loyalty without a price, never counting every compromise. I wore forgiveness like a second skin, thinking love would always let me win. But every favor became expectation, every silence became invitation. The more I gave, the less they saw, until kindness became my greatest flaw. They smile while borrowing pieces of my soul, leaving me to pay the final toll. I confused being needed with being loved. By the time I learned the difference, there wasn't much of me left. The kindness they mistook was never weakness, it was a heart that hadn't learned how cruel this world could be. They mistook my patience for surrender, my silence for defeat. But every wound they left behind taught my broken heart to leave. I remember every promise they forgot, every lesson betrayal quietly taught. Some hands only reach when they need to take, some smiles exist only because they're fake. The loudest lies were whispered low by the only people I trusted to know. I searched for honesty inside familiar eyes, instead I found carefully polished lies. So I stopped explaining every scar, stopped chasing people who wandered too far. Some departures deserve an open gate, not another chance to rewrite fate. The man I became wasn't born from hate, he simply arrived too late. It's strange how pain changes your language. You stop saying please and start saying nothing at all. The kindness they mistook was never weakness, it was strength without armor, hope without conditions. They broke the boy who trusted everyone, but they couldn't break the man he would become. Now I walk slow through crowded rooms, reading silence louder than perfume. I don't fear being alone anymore, no. Loneliness has opened every door. The nights still carry familiar ghosts, but they no longer decide me most. I let memories pass like falling rain, without asking them to stay again. Some people only recognize your worth after they buried everything you gave. Others never recognize it at all. Either way, you keep walking. I no longer need applause to know my value. The mirror tells me enough. The scars don't ask for sympathy, they simply remind me I survived. If kindness is a crime, then I was guilty. If loving deeply was foolish, then I paid the sentence. But I refuse to regret the man I used to be, because without him, this version of me would never have existed. The kindness they mistook became the strength they feared. quietly appeared. Not every heart deserves your loyalty. Not every hand deserves to hold yours. Be kind, but never forget your worth.
They say every gentleman carries a story. Mine didn't begin with power. It began with trust. Before the suits, before the smoke, before the silence became my closest friend, I was just a boy who believed the world would be kind. I used to chase the morning with an open heart, never thinking every beginning could fall apart. The streets felt smaller, the skies looked wide. I had nothing to protect, nothing to hide. Every face looked honest beneath the light. Every promise felt strong enough to survive the night. I never counted enemies when I walked through a crowd, because kindness was the only thing that made me proud. Back then my dreams had no price to pay. Tomorrow always seemed one sunrise away. I laughed without wondering who was pretending, believing every goodbye had another ending. If someone cried, I'd stay beside them till dawn, never imagining they'd be the first ones gone. Nobody warns you how slowly hearts can break. The loudest betrayals begin without a sound. Before the world changed me, I still believe love was something no one would leave. I trusted words more than fear, thought forever would always stay near. Now every memory falls like rain, every lesson carries a little pain. The man I became was never the plan. Before the world changed me, I was just a boy. Then came the silence, wearing a familiar face, turning every safe place into empty space. The people I defended slowly disappeared, leaving behind exactly what I feared. A handshake became something I questioned twice. Smiles began to carry hidden knives. The nights grew longer than they used to be, and loneliness learned my name quietly. I stopped asking why people leave, because answers don't help you breathe. I built walls where gardens used to grow, learning some winters never let go. Every scar arrived without permission, changing my heart one decision at a time. You don't become cold overnight, you'll become careful, one disappointment at a time. Before the world changed me, I still believe some hearts could never deceive. My soul was light, my hands were clean. Life wasn't harder than it seemed. Now I wear composure like a tailored suit, speaking less because the truth stays mute. The man I became grew from the fall. Before the world changed me, I had it all. People call it strength when they see me now, but they never ask me how. Strength wasn't something I chose to chase. It found me when hope left without a trace. Every lonely drive through midnight rain, every quiet room still whispers your name. I learned that tears don't always fall, sometimes they build invisible walls. The mirror reflects a stranger's eyes, older from truth, wiser from lies. The boy inside still speaks sometimes, hidden beneath expensive ties. He asked if we'll ever laugh the same, if love will return without bringing pain. I never answer, I simply stare, because some questions disappear into the air. If you could meet the boy I used to be, you search my face for familiarity. He'd wonder why my smile arrived so late, why call patience another name for fate. He'd ask why my heart beats so quietly, why peace feels like a distant memory. I tell him the world doesn't always break you with violence. Sometimes it breaks you with absence, with empty chairs, unread letters, promises that never came home. That's how gentlemen are made, not by power, but by surviving what was never meant to be survived. Before the world changed me, I knew no war, never measured people by their scars. Now every sunrise feels was earned somehow. The boy is gone, but I'm still here now. The pain became a faithful guide, teaching strength without my pride. I buried innocence beneath the rain, only to discover hope again. Before the world changed me, I feared the night. Now I walk through darkness carrying my own light. Every wound became another page, every loss became another age. If my heart still beats beneath this stone, it's because I learned to stand alone. The gentleman they see today was built from everything that slipped away. Some men inherit their strength, some earn it through heartbreak. Every scar has a story, every silence has a name. And before I became the man they know, I was just a boy before the world changed me.
It wasn't the lies that changed me. It was the moment I could no longer lie to myself. Some truths arrive like whispers, others arrive like bullets. Mine came wearing your name. I spent years chasing echoes through empty halls, listening for footsteps that never called. I blame the night, I blame the rain, anything but the truth I couldn't explain. I convinced myself that time was slow, that one more season would bring you home. Hope became a habit I couldn't break, even when my heart was wide awake. The mirror knew before I did. Every answer I tried to keep hidden. Love had already packed its bags. I was only holding on to the tags. You were gone long before goodbye. I just couldn't look the truth in the eye. Sometimes the hardest prison is the one built from denial.
Nothing hurt like the truth, not the silence, not the leaving, not the nights without you. Nothing cut as deep as finally admitted that some stories end without a villain to blame. The truth doesn't shout, it simply waits until you're strong enough to hear it.
I carried your memory like sacred gold, long after the warmth had turned cold. Every word reminded me of your name. Every sunrise looked exactly the same. People told me I'd heal with time, as if clocks could rewrite a life. I smiled when they asked if I was okay, because explaining pain only pushes people away. So I learned to wear expensive suits while hiding broken roots. The world applauded who I become, never asking what I'd overcome. You can fool the world for years, but eventually you have to face yourself.
Nothing hurt like the truth, that love cannot survive on hope alone. Nothing hurt like watching the man I used to be disappear into someone who learned to live with ghosts. Still the truth set me free, even while it broke me.
Now I understand why winter comes, why every setting sun still rises once. Lost was never sent to destroy me, only to rewrite my story. Every scar became another page, every goodbye another age. The boy searched for reasons to stay, the man learned when to walk away. I no longer beg memories to remain, or ask tomorrow to erase yesterday. Some wounds deserve respect, not because they still bleed, but because they remind us we once loved deeply. If I could speak to my younger self, I'd tell him, not everyone who leaves was meant to stay. Not every promise can survive reality, and not every ending is your fault. The truth is, strength isn't pretending you never cried. Strength is remembering every tear and choosing kindness anyway.
strength is carrying an empty chair without Strength is knowing you deserve better, without hating those who couldn't give it. Nothing hurt like the truth, but nothing healed me more. The truth taught me that peace begins where pretending ends. I stopped chasing what was gone, stopped fighting battles already lost, stopped searching for the boy who could never return. Because somewhere between heartbreak, acceptance, and silence, a gentleman found himself. Oh, the truth never came to punish me, it came to set me free.
Not every burden is meant to be shared. Some are carried in silence, not because no one would understand, but because a gentle wind refuses to let his pain become someone else's. I don't speak much these days. The loudest lessons rarely have a void. The road has taken more than it returned, but I survived every choice. I've buried dreams beneath expensive shoes, covered old wounds with tailored suits. People call it confidence when I walk by. They never notice the tired eyes. Every handshake hides another story. Every smile protects another scar. The strongest men aren't fearless, they've simply learned how to carry fear. I stopped asking life to be fair, stopped expecting heaven to explain. Some answers only arrive after you learn to live with the pain. You can measure a man's wealth by what he owns, but you'll measure his character by what he carries. Without complaint, a gentleman carries the weight, even when his shoulders ache. He walks through storms without a sound, keeping his feet upon the ground. He protects the ones he loves, even when nobody protects him. He breaks in places no one sees and stands again with quiet dignity. The gentleman carries the weight, because someone has to. There were nights I almost gave in, moments I questioned everything. The city slept while I stayed awake, trying to hold together what remained. I watched friends become strangers, promises become dust. I learned that loyalty isn't spoken, it's proven when life becomes rough. Money came and money left, power knock upon my door, but neither could replace the people I still quietly mourn. The world celebrates victories and never counts the cost. Every crown looks beautiful until you know what it lost. Pain doesn't always ask permission. Sometimes it simply sits beside you until you learn to make room for it. A gentleman carries the weight, not because he's made of stone, but because he's learned some battles must be fought alone. He speaks with actions, not applause. He stands when others choose to run. He doesn't wear his scars for sympathy, he wears them because they're honestly won. A gentleman carries the weight without asking the world to notice. The strength out of faith, it wouldn't be loud, it would be the father who hides his tears, the brother who never breaks his word, the friend who shows up even when he's falling apart himself, the man who keeps walking after life gives him every reason to stop. That strength, that's dignity, that's what pain was trying to teach me all along. I still remember the boy from years ago, the one who believed every heart was good. Sometimes I miss the way he smiled, the way only innocence could. But I don't want him anymore. He didn't disappear. Equal into someone who understands the value of silence, the weight of responsibility, and the quiet honor of keeping his word. Now every sunrise feels earned, every breath a second chance. I no longer fear the road ahead because I've survived the one behind. A gentleman carries the weight of every promise he refused to break, of every goodbye that shaped his name, of every loss that forged his flame. He may bend beneath the load, but he will never let it define his soul, because true strength isn't found in never falling. It's found in rising again, again, and again, and again. One day these shoulders will finally rest. Until then, I'll carry the weight, not because it's easy, because it's mine. I thought mercy made a man stronger. They thought it made me easier to break. That's the difference between who I was and who they forced me to become. I opened doors that no one thanked me for, stayed behind when everyone walked out the door. I carried burdens that were never mine, believing sacrifice would buy me time. I gave my loyalty without a price, never counting every compromise. I wore forgiveness like a second skin, thinking love would always let me win. But every favor became expectation, every silence became invitation. The more I gave, the less they saw, until kindness became my greatest flaw. They smile while borrowing pieces of my soul, leaving me to pay the final toll. I confused being needed with being loved. By the time I learned the difference, there wasn't much of me left. The kindness they mistook was never weakness. It was a heart that had to learn how cruel this world could be. They mistook my patience for surrender, my silence for defeat. But every wound they left behind taught my broken heart to lead. I remember every promise they forgot, every lesson betrayal quietly taught. Some hands only reach when they need to take, some smiles exist only because they're fake. The loudest lies will whisper low by the only people I trusted to know. I searched for honesty inside familiar eyes. Instead I found carefully polished lies. So I stopped explaining every scar, stopped chasing people who wandered too far. Some departures deserve an open gate, not another chance to rewrite fate. The man I became wasn't born from hate, simply arrived too late. It's strange how pain changes your language. You stop saying please and start saying nothing at all. The kindness they mistook was never weakness. It was strength without armor, hope without conditions. They broke the boy you trusted everyone, but they couldn't break the man he would become. Now I walk slow through crowded rooms, reading silence louder than perfume. I don't fear being alone anymore. Loneliness has opened every door. The nights still carry familiar ghosts, but they no longer decide me most. I let memories pass like falling rain, without asking them to stay again. Some people only recognize your worth after they buried everything you gave. Others never recognize it at all. Either way, you keep walking. I no longer need applause to kindness is a crime, then I was guilty. If loving deeply was foolish, then I paid the sentence. But I refuse to regret the man I used to be, because without him, this version of me would never have existed. The kindness they mistook became the strength they feared. Every betrayal built another wall. Every goodbye made my vision clear. I still believe goodness has a place, just not in the hands of everyone. The world called me naive, life called me unprepared, pain called me forward, and somewhere between heartbreak and healing, a gentleman quietly appeared. Not every heart deserves your loyalty. Not every hand deserves to hold yours. Be kind, but never forget your worth.